or a brother, can't recall, had asked about Hinn. What is Hinn wal Binn that Imam Ibn Kathir mentions? And he's not the only one who mentions it. Many others mention a concept that is really, we could say, purely mythological in nature, called Hinn wal Binn wal Khinni wal Shinni wal Sinni wal Din. All these names are given to it. And what are they? And chances, and what it appears to be that this can't really say that there's hard evidence for it, but it's said that there were a type of creature that is not a jinn, not a human, not an animal. It has aspects of these things, but it is not a jinn at all. It's of our dimension. In other words, we can't see jinn, right? It's something of our dimension. We could see it, and that it's something that is an upright but animal-like creature. They call this al-Hinn wal-Khin wal-Bin. Okay, other books call them ad-Din was-Sin was-Shin, and that it is one of the theories is that Ya'juj and Ma'juj are from them, and hence they are upright, and they may appear to be human-like, but are not. And they have a lot of attributes of animals, as if emerged between animals and humans. Well, this is just for information. There's no actual substantiation for their existence. If we want to open the door to narrations, aqwal and qil wal qal, then yes, there are so-called sightings of such creatures, right, in the paranormal world. People who like to talk about these bizarre sightings and stuff. None of these sightings we can say would withstand a thorough examination of credibility. Okay. What's the purpose then? Well, one of the purposes is that it does actually answer some questions. If such a thing was true, well, it answers the question of where certain fossils, it explains certain fossils. It explains certain teeth or whatever that were found way before the supposed or the estimated existence of the human being, right? So that possibly would answer that question. And Allah knows best. But I just wanted to mention that I did some... There's not much research to do because there's not much evidence. But it was enough for Ibn Kathir. Let's actually read directly Ibn Kathir's statement on it. Ibn Kathir عن الحن والبن. Okay. It's in البداية والنهاية. Okay. And if we find something good, then we retitle this life on earth before human beings. قال كثير من علماء التفسير خلقت الجن قبل آدم عليه السلام وكان قبلهم في الأرض الحن والبن. You see that? Before them on the earth were الحن والبن. Okay. فسلط الله الجن عليهم. Then the jinn were created after them, after الحن والبن. This pre-human creation. Okay, and it's not necessarily that they couldn't see the jinn. Maybe they could see the jinn. Maybe al-Hinn wal-Bin could see the jinn. All right. فَقَتَلُوهُمْ وَأَجْلُوهُم. Not أَجَلُّوهُم. Jala meaning push something away. عنها وأبادوهم منها وسكنوها بعدهم. So they pushed away, they basically almost extincted this group of people, this creation, al-Hinn wal-Bin. So the theory is that they ended up moving into caves and they exist in a very small number, right? And they, again, are upright animals, you could call that. No, there's no upright animal today, right? even the monkey is not really upright. He can stand upright, but he's not. You don't see monkeys walking around. They walk on all fours. Sometimes on two and mostly on four, though, right? Same with the gorilla. But this type of creature, it's like a fusion between the animal and the human. And it apparently is non-rational. Okay. Allah knows best about that. Okay. وذكر السدي في تفسيره عن أبي مالك عن أبي صالح عن ابن عباس عن مرة عن ابن مسعود عن ناس من أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لما فرغ الله من خلق ما. This is a narration that goes back to companions. Okay. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had created what he loved to create. Okay. What he willed to create. And he placed Iblis, okay, على ملك الدنيا. وكان قبيلة من الملائكة يقال لهم الجن وإنما سموا الجن لأنهم خزان الجنة. خزان الجنة. There are some malaika that were called jinn, but they were not jinn. They were angels, and they were in charge of the angels. Okay. فجعل إبليس على ملك الدنيا. Apparently, Iblis was given a position, okay, over the dunya. وكان إبليس مع ملكه خازنا فوقع في صدره إنما أعطاني الله هذا لمزية لي على الملائكة. So Iblis was in charge of this hayat ad-dunya, this world. He was in charge of it. Okay. It entered into Iblis's heart that he was given this because he's better than angels even. So now the arrogance entered into Iblis. وذكر الضحاك عن ابن عباس أن الجن لما أفسدوا في الأرض وسفكوا الدماء. The jinn, when they lived in this earth, they wreaked havoc. Okay, remember, the earth is a place where your free will is tested. The metaphor of like Lord of the Flies. Did you read Lord of the Flies? And there's a modernized version of Lord of the Flies where they send a bunch of kids, babies out on a spacecraft that's going to take 80 years to get to a new planet. Okay, it's basically Lord of the Flies, but they just remade it into a modern version where let's just take some kids and put them. But it's the same thing. The human being is essentially put on this earth. Let's see what you're all going to do, right? And we'll test your free will. So the jinn did badly. بعث الله إليهم إبليس ومعه جند من الملائكة. Iblis was brought down to sent to these wicked jinn, and some angels came here and they fought them, and they made them live in the islands and the deserts. They basically cleared the earth of them, and only some remnants lived in the islands and the deserts. وقال محمد بن إسحاق عن خلاد عن عطاء عن طاووس عن ابن عباس كان اسم إبليس قبل أن يرتكب المعصية عزازيل. Before Iblis was named that, he had an honorific title, the glory of Allah, Azazil, because he was one of the best of Allah's creation. And some say before that, his actual name was Harith. Harith is a farmer, essentially. But it means basically someone who invests and gets some benefit. That's basically the value of the name Harith. وكان من سكان الأرض, and he lived on the earth. ومن أشد الملائكة اجتهادا وأكثرهم علما وكان من حي يقال لهم الجن. Of course, he was not an angel, but he lived on the earth, and he was from the best in ibadah and the best in knowledge. He had the most knowledge. وروى ابن أبي حاتم عن سعيد بن جبير عنه كان اسمه عزازيل وكان من أشرف الملائكة من أولي الأجنحة الأربعة. We're not accepting that anything called a concept of a fallen angel. We all know that. In Islam, there's no fallen angels. Okay. In Christianity, demons were angels. Okay, and then they fell. We don't have this concept. Angels can never fall. Angels can never be bad. Angels do not have the capacity to disobey Allah. They have the capacity to think, to do good things, to want other good things. But they have no capacity to disobey Allah whatsoever. Okay? And so what they say is that because he was so good, he was allowed to live amongst angels. And he could see them. وقد أسند عن الحجاج عن ابن جريج قال ابن عباس كان إبليس من أشرف الملائكة وأكرمهم قبيلة وكان خازن على الجنان وكان له سلطان سماء الدنيا. So he was, according to this narration, in charge of this realm of life. He was in charge of this. Okay. وكان له سلطان الأرض. Okay. وقال صالح مولد توأم عن ابن عباس كان يسوس ما بين السماء والأرض. He managed this realm that we're in right here. يسوس يعني manages it. Ibn Jarir narrated that. وقال قتادة عن سعيد بن المسيب كان إبليس رئيس ملائكة السماء الدنيا. كان إبليس رئيس ملائكة سماء الدنيا. Iblis was in charge. He was the ra'is of the angels of this world. Okay, he was even in charge. He had angels, and that's not far-fetched. Angels are serving us, right? Writing our deeds. So it's not far-fetched that he is now put in a position and angels are working under him. وقال الحسن البصري لم يكن من الملائكة طرفة عين. He was never an angel. There is no such thing in this. That's one of the corrections that we have to make. All right, no such thing as a fallen angel. He was amongst them, and he fell. Okay. لم يكن من الملائكة طرفة عين وأنه لأصل الجن كما أن آدم أصل البشر. And it is said that he was the first of the jinn. Just like Adam is to the human beings, Iblis was to the jinn. He was not like a young child of the jinn. No, he is the asl of the jinn. And when we say jinn are made of fire and humans are made of mud, that doesn't mean we remain to be that way. Because clearly, you'll be born and die, you'll never be mud, right? Your origin, you're made of mud. Just like, what is glass made out of? Isn't it made of sand, right? Glass is, could you look that up? Glass is made out of sand. But glass, even when you make it and you destroy it, it's never sand, right? So just because you're made of something does not mean that you will ever be that thing. Okay? So, in the same way that a diamond was made of coal, but it's not coal anymore, right? So likewise, the origin, the original piece of matter of the jinn are fire, and of the human being is mud, and of the angels is light. Okay. وقال شهر بن حوشب شهر وغيره كان إبليس من الجن الذين طردوهم الملائكة. Okay. فأسره بعضهم وذهب به إلى السماء. The angels fought the jinn and they captured some jinn, but he was a believer from amongst the jinn, so he was taken up. Just boggles your mind how much history there is, right? How old is Iblis, for example? How much history has Jibreel seen? How many species does not Allah say in the Quran, وَيَخْلُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ? He creates things that you don't know about. And in fact, the Quran this is our ultimate source of transmitted knowledge, right? We can discover things with our eyes and our ears and go out there and try to discover and dig up bones and stuff, and we can gain some little bit of information there. But the transmitted knowledge is, in fact, Allah has made it easy for us. If He had filled the Quran with everything that existed, our brains would blow up. We wouldn't be able to have the capacity to understand, right? So He's reduced it. For example, prophets, 120-some thousand prophets. How many are in the Quran? So how many dramas were there in life, in the history of the world?